My take for my text, the parable of the sower in Matthew chapter 13. Great multitudes were gathered unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit, some an 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. The disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. And then he goes through and explains why that is true. But then what I want to get to is verse 18. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. That is he that receiveth seed by the wayside. But he that receiveth the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet he hath not root in himself, but dureth for a while, and when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended. He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth seed into good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. So now, the verse that I want to concentrate on is verse 22. He that receiveth seed by the among thorns it's too bright in my eyes. The care of this world, singular, the deceitfulness of riches, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. Now in the Greek, I use the King James, and so I also use the majority text, which, not the critical text, but the majority text that the King James was drawn from, the Textus Receptus. So in verse 22, the Greek says, Hode is tas akanthas sparis, hutos estin ho ton loion akuon. Sparis is Spiro, like Spiro Agnew. That means a sower. So, ho de is tas akanthas. Akanthas is thorns. Sparis is sown among thorns. Hutos, this, is ho ton loion akuon, he that heareth the word. Ke he merimna, to ionos. Ionos means the eons. It means eternity in one sense, but it just generally means the cosmos, the world. The merimna to ionos. This is the thing that stops this person from getting it. Now, what is merimna? Well, this etymology that I have, which is a very interesting book. It's German, but It goes deep into the etymology of the word, of all the words in Greek. Merimna, feminine, zorga, care. Miridzo is the verb, to care, to think, to think. Mermera erga, denkwürdige Taten, thought-worthy deeds. Vergleich Altindisch, it's related to Sanskrit smarati, which means that which has been thought, gedenkt. Erinnert sich, something that has been remembered. Smartis smarana, Gedächtnis, which means memory. Alt Baktrisch, Old Bactrian, which is like an Iranian language from north of Iran. Mar, sich erinnern, to be remembered. Latin memor is related to this word also. Memoria, Gedächtnis, means memory. So this is not worry. It can be, but mostly it's just mindfulness. Mindfulness of the world, to be worldly minded. That's what he's saying. Worldly mindedness are the thorns that choke the word and prevent it from being fruitful. Now, there's another passage that I want to reference here, where in Matthew, chapter 23, Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and not to have left the other undone. Now, I don't remember the reference, but I know the verse. In, I think it's Isaiah. What doth the Lord require of thee? Who hath required this of thee, to tread my courts? With your new moons and Sabbath, they're a trouble to me. I'm weary of bearing them. He says, what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before thy God? So if we concern ourselves as a Christian community with the things of this world and think that we're doing the gospel, we're content with baked bean suppers and jolly Christmas programs and things that, as Jesus says in one place, do not the publicans and sinners do likewise? We want to be different. Now, what do we do to make ourselves worthy of the cognomen of just, merciful, and probative, that is, of good judgment? We have to look at reality. We cannot close our eyes to the fact that we as American citizens have a lot of blood on our hands if we have not protested the crimes of our government. The war in Iraq killed 1 million innocent people It was a case of, sorry, wrong country. We have neglected judgment, justice, and mercy. Now, there's another verse in the Proverbs. I don't remember where it is, but I know what it says. It says, when you see people being dragged to their death, and you say, behold, we knew it not. Doth not he that weigheth the hearts consider? So this is an obligation of the Christian and the Jew. Anybody that reads any of this is obligated to admit that they are, well, not every Christian is failing, though. You remember the Berrigan brothers? A lot of people think Catholics are weak. A lot of Protestants think Catholics are universally weak in their faith and in their experience. But you look at the Berrigan brothers that went to prison for pouring blood on draft records. You look at the Maryknoll sisters who were gang raped and murdered in El Salvador by employees of the United States government. Or not exactly, but they are thugs that were trained by employees of the United States government at the School of the Americas in Fort Benning, Georgia. The School of Torture, the School of Death Squad. Well, I didn't do that. No, but did you protest? Did you tell people that you know that this is going on? Doth not he that weigheth the hearts consider? So I think it's important for a Christian to take his obligation seriously. You remember that one of the first of the failed planting was the one that where the seeds fell on the wayside. No, excuse me. I'm thinking of the second one. The seeds fell on stony ground and immediately sprang up. Oh, isn't this wonderful? But when tribulation, or when it was necessary to do something that was uncomfortable, that the neighbors would think, oh, no, you're not one of them, are you? Like Martin Luther King. Why are you involving yourself with the anti-war movement? Aren't you hurting the cause of your people, they ask? And I must confess that though I understand what they're thinking, it grieves me to say that they have not known me or my calling. Because he stood up in Riverside Church in Harlem 1 year to the day before he was shot down in Memphis. Coincidence. But Freemasons and spooks and some of these people, dates mean a lot to them. So 1 year to the day after that speech, against the Vietnam War, he was touching the apple of their eye. And that's what Kennedy touched too. Kennedy had set the process in motion to pull out of Vietnam very soon before he was killed. No, don't touch that. Don't touch that. So there's a cross for us to bear if we really want to be disciples. So I urge everybody that hears this to think carefully about what Jesus asked you to do. He that loveth his own life more than me is not worthy of me. Take up your cross and follow me. That ain't just a whistling Dixie. Okay? It's a serious business. So I thank you for listening.